What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Married Movie Challenge with your host, Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob, and my beautiful wife, Mrs. Scene Snob, Mary the Mommy.
Hello.
So we are back at it again. We're going to do another movie. It's John Carpenter Appreciation Week, all throughout the site on thescenesnobs.com. So if you go on, we have all new episodes of the 20-Minute Wrestling Podcast, the Scene Snob Reviews, the Scene Snob Podcast, this right here, Married Movie Challenge, and we have a brand new podcast this week called Behind the Box with the Video Store Kids. That's Rob Gosher and I are hosting that, and it's all about the cult classics that we loved growing up. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
But we wanted to do one for the Married Movie Challenge because John Carpenter, as much as I love him, my wife is not a huge horror fan. She has seen some, but not all. So I'm very excited about this episode. And we're closing out the week, the Appreciation Week, with this episode.
No pressure.
So, no pressure. So we have to end on a high note. What do we end with? Yeah. So I know what I have in store when I pick your name.
I know what I'm going to pick if you pick my name.
Very funny. We all know I'm going to win. You can't keep winning each week. It just isn't possible. So
we shall see.
With that being said, before we do this, I want you to go right down. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to hit the subscribe button and make sure that little bell, that's the notification button, hit that because we have new content every day.
Yep.
And it's a lot of fun. And go to thescenesnobs.com where we have links for everything. Okay, so without further ado, I'm picking, right?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Let's see.
Whose name shall it be? Can we keep up my streak?
Mary.
I have to go buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, and at least use that. I'm never gonna pick a movie. It's John Carpenter week. I'm not gonna fight. I'm gonna just all right. What are you? I told you to go and look at his filmography.
Right. If you had picked your name, what would you have picked?
Such a loaded question. I know you've seen Halloween. I know you've seen Some of the Greats. You've seen They Live. We watched that the other night.
Which was really good, by the way. It was the first time I had seen it.
Yeah, it's really good. You've seen Village of the Damned. We watched that together.
Well, I saw the end of it.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah. If you only would have picked your own name.
You've never seen Escape from New York, though, and that's my favorite Carpenter film. You've seen The Thing, though, so we wouldn't have to watch that.
That's true. That's true. I have seen The Thing.
I'd probably go with Escape from New York, just because it's my favorite, and you've never seen it.
Yeah. Well, you didn't pick your name, so we're going with Starman.
I'm not against Starman. Yeah. Starman's a great movie. The only, just for anybody who doesn't know, the only movie of John Carpenter's that was nominated for an Academy Award for best actor for Jeff Bridges.
So I grew up watching this movie.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't know it was a John Carpenter movie until we were looking at the filmography to pick out our movies for this week.
Yeah, when you brought it up, I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so there's not a lot I remember.
Yeah, me.
But there are some things, like I remember a fight scene, and I remember a deer.
Jinx.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that was a pretty famous scene, I think.
Yeah.
But just Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are the two that I remember from it. I don't remember anybody else, really. I don't know if there's any of Carpenter's normal actors in it. So I'm excited to check it out because it's been a while.
Yeah, and what I'm most interested in is seeing it from the lens of having seen other John Carpenter movies now as a grown-up, to see if there's any, anything that you notice, the same kind of things from his other movies.
Okay. Yeah, I am too.
Another reason I picked this one.
I am too. So we're going to go with Starman.
Yep.
From, I think it was 1986 or 85.
84, I think.
We'll have all that information for you after we watch the movie. Yes. So kind of get into it. Till later.
Yeah, see ya.
What's going on, everybody? We are back. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Starman in so long. I didn't even think about it. And it was as good as I remembered, because I don't remember it being bad when I was a kid.
No.
I remember it being sort of weird because it was an alien and they were in love, but I didn't really understand it at that time. And it had some good memories of, I remember the deer, I remember the fight scene, and a few other things in there. I remember the red flannel.
Yeah.
That stuck
Red
out
hat.
to me.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
So,
which I actually thought about, because at the end when they're running in the desert, and I was like, red is just not the color you want to be wearing if you're trying to be like blend into the scenery. But
so it was cool. I don't think I remembered the government chasing them.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was kind of cool how they did it. Just I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. I thought,
it held up to the test of time.
And I have to give it, after revisiting all of the movies of John Carpenter I haven't seen this week, and then kind of revisiting some that I haven't seen in a long time. Man, he was really talented as a director, and he had a lot of things that featured throughout all his movies, like his type of technology or his view of futuristic technology, which is so dated in his movies.
Yeah, right.
But like it was very similar. Like he was consistent through, because like a lot of that technology in this movie showed up in Escape from New York, which took place in the future, which took place in 1997 in the future.
Right. No longer the future, but
yeah, we are way past a lot of things. So and in Memoirs of an Invisible Man, kind of the same thing, and They Live, kind of the same thing. So it's his view of technology is really good, but he has really good.
What examples do you have?
Like the computer styles, like how they looked and how they operated. All the military, it always seemed kind of like black fatigues and stuff. Like he had shadow companies and everything, but they're dressed very similar to the police in Escape from New York, and just a lot of different things. So
I haven't seen any other ones, so I don't have to.
Yeah, but you've seen some things. Yeah. Well, you've seen more like Big Trouble in Little China, the things, stuff like that. So
Halloween.
But you saw it was kind of similar to They Live.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and like the kind of the soundtrack and the music that accompanied some of the scenes, it did feel very similar to the other ones, which was what I did not know. I didn't know that when I was young watching it. I mean, my mom loved romance, and so this was one that we watched often. Because it really was. It was such a good romantic story and kind of weird.
And it was, it's kind of sad in the beginning with Karen Allen's character, because Jeff Bridges, her husband dies. She's a widow.
Yeah. And
so she's mourning him like it just happened. And then this alien being comes down and then clones himself into him and has his memories. And then like, just so she helps him, well, first reluctantly helps him get to where the rest of his alien beings are going to meet him, and it's like a cross-country trip. So this is very much a road trip type movie, which I thought was really cool too, just the falling in love over time, because like, he's learning to be more human, and she's learning more about his sweetness and like care for things. So I thought that was cool. And I really enjoyed this, and Jeff Bridges did a great job.
He did a great job.
Let's be real. Everybody did in this movie.
Yes, everybody did. So. But his specifically because, he had to play on the video reel that she was watching, his actual person character. But then, have the quirkiness of an alien trying to, and like, not only with what he was saying and his stammering and that kind of thing, but his movements it was very believable. Like, it was he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a great movie. You guys should check it out if you haven't seen it, because I know a lot of people stray away, like if they're fans of Halloween or the horror type that John Carpenter does. I have talked to a lot, because I haven't seen Memoirs of an Invisible Man till the other day. I also hadn't seen a couple of like Dark Star, things like that. And those are movies that aren't horror.
Right.
This is a movie that's not horror.
Right.
It's more of a sci-fi base. But I have talked to other people, like, it seems like if we're into the horror side of things, or like The Escape or Big Trouble in Little China or whatever, you kind of stay away from this type of movie.
Yeah.
And you really shouldn't, because it has John Carpenter's footprint on it throughout. And it's really well done. And in fact, there's a couple of things I learned about it. Did you know before Jeff Bridges, he went to Tom Cruise first to be in this movie?
I could see that.
I guess I'm
glad that it was Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Because Jeff Bridges was kind of young at that point too. I think he was like in his late 20s, whereas Tom Cruise would have been in his early 20s.
Yeah.
But it still would have worked. And he did meet with Tom Cruise, but I think it was scheduling that kept that.
Okay.
And so he also met with Kevin Bacon. I don't know why what happened with Kevin Bacon, if something fell through.
Right.
But Jeff Bridges ultimately got it. But he knew Jeff Bridges because Jeff Bridges had auditioned for The Thing and Escape from New York because he was a very similar type to Kurt Russell.
Right.
And that's what they were looking for those characters. And because Carpenter had worked with Kurt Russell on Elvis, he went with Kurt Russell. But he always wanted to work with Jeff Bridges.
Huh.
And what I learned from this was, after working on this movie, even though they hadn't worked together again, he and Jeff Bridges remained good friends. So that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
But I can't picture, because of who Jeff Bridges' character is supposed to be, kind of this like mountain man, outdoorsy kind of, because they live like in the woods.
He's like a house painter.
Yeah. I really couldn't see Tom Cruise or Kevin Bacon play that kind of person.
No.
In that role, like, because Jeff Bridges kind of, he's kind of more
bigger
and like more of a grown up, I guess, if you will. Because
I guess. Oh, sorry.
No. I was gonna say Tom Cruise and Kevin Bacon both kind of baby faces. So like.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially for that time
too.
But Jeff Bridges kind of has a baby face, but he does look older. He has a different stature. Yeah. I think that would probably be more of like the star power at the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But Jeff Bridges studied ornithology, which is a study of birds and how birds act and such, to kind of get those neck things down about like how birds are always kind of looking around and aware,
right,
or trying to like go over their surroundings, and like so I thought that was a cool like little thing. Another thing I learned about this movie, Michael Douglas produced this.
Yes,
and he was ecstatic to work with John Carpenter because he was a fan of his work, and John Carpenter came onto this role because The Thing, which was a very personal movie to him, failed at the box office because of E.T. E.T. had come out in March of 1982. The Thing came out in June of 1982, and it failed at the box office because the audiences were not up for an extraterrestrial being evil,
right?
Or a malevolent spirit, which if you watch Behind the Box or watch or listen to Behind the Box, we actually have a talk about that. Is the Thing really evil? But I'm not going to go too in depth about that because this is Starman.
Right.
So Michael Douglas produced. You're
just going to have to listen to the other one to find out what happens.
Michael Douglas produced this, so he was ecstatic, and John Carpenter stepped on this role because he wanted to prove to himself that he can make an extraterrestrial movie that worked. And it did. It was nominated for an Academy Award.
It was so good, and it was just really touching, and I thought their chemistry was really great and just really worked well. Just a beautiful story, and even the humanity of the guy, the character who played the go-between the government and him. He worked for the extraterrestrial seeker as a contractor, and I don't know. If you haven't seen it, 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up. I love it. I loved it when I was little. Seeing it now as a grown-up and as a mother, it just had a totally different experience.
Yeah.
And it just really was good.
It kept making me want to sing the Bowie song throughout. Like every time I was like, Starman. But it's also, he comes to Earth because of Voyager 2. The satellite we sent out looking for extraterrestrial life. And if anybody remembers, Voyager 7 is V'ger from Star Trek, the motion picture. So there's your connection. Yeah. The Voyager's in there, and it has this is some sort of connection to Star Trek, so I brought it around for my Trek fans. Yeah. So, so that's it. This is our review of Starman.
Yes.
So it was a
go
good
and
pick.
See it. Yeah. Very glad.
And I'm glad it's the last one because it's very outside the box from everything different. Because I did Scene Snob reviews of all the movies I haven't seen, except for Elvis. I couldn't find it. So we had Dark Star, Memoirs of an Invisible Man, The Ward, and Someone's Watching Me.
Is someone watching?
Someone is watching you. Lauren Hutton. That's who's watching you.
Well, I wouldn't mind that.
So, and now I've watched Starman, which I had seen as a kid, so it's not the same. Yeah. But I think it was good to get outside the box of John Carpenter and not just be like, let's celebrate Halloween and The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China, the ones we love, or Escape from New York, and let's celebrate the man who made way more than that. Yeah. So Starman was an awesome movie. Go check it out. Yep. All right. Until next time. I'm going to win next time. It's going to be a great movie, and she's going to lose, and ha-ha. So
I already have my next 5 picked out because apparently this is Mary Picks Movies.
All right. Well, have a good night, everybody. Take care.